We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further.
Peace, love, like, and subscribe.
Yeah, and don't listen to me for stock advice, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Dude, last night was depressing. Yeah, first of all, I was stressed because I was watching what appeared to be like an impending financial collapse happening. And then we recorded, and I decided to stay up and edit everything so I could post it before the stock market opened. And by the time I got done editing, all of a sudden, like I checked again right before bed. And when we recorded, it was the stock market was negative 2.12% was when we left off. And by the time I got done editing, it was like negative 1%. It was only like 600 points down. And I was like, what happened? Did you see what happened to kind of reverse the oil trend?
Well, it started off, this day started off down, didn't it? It started off down by like
It's
800 points.
it still started off down, but not as down as it was supposed to be. And it turned out while we were recording, the G7 countries announced that they were thinking about releasing up to 400 million barrels from their strategic reserves, which
Mm.
would ease the issue with oil. So
Okay.
that's what turned everything around initially. And then I think it opened like six or 700 down. I don't think it was quite 800, but it opened six or 700 down. And then it slowly worked its way up all day until Trump had a statement midday, which we'll get to. But bottom line, don't listen to me on stock advice. I think I told you last night, I was like, if I were you, I'd pull all my money out of the market, period. That would have been a bad decision. So don't listen to me on stocks. And I think I
Uh,
said several times last night that I don't know anything about stocks. So if you listen to
yeah,
me, you're an idiot.
yeah, you're
Anyhow,
not a stock advisor.
yeah, so I feel like it's important to get that out of the way. But
You're a
I got
podcaster, not a stock advisor.
yeah, I'm not even really like nobody should listen to me on politics, to be honest with you. But that's what I'm talking
Hey.
about. So anyhow,
Fair.
I have a lot on. Trump said a lot today. But do you have anything for us tonight before I go down that rabbit hole?
Yeah. Yeah. The other day I was partially right. Remember I said that we were going to Iran for Iran for oil or for gold?
Okay, yeah, you had that thing about a new gold mine being discovered,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I was right. It's just black gold.
Well, hold on. I think that everybody knew deep down that part of this equation was oil. Like, if anybody thought
Yeah.
oil didn't play a part in this, then they're fools. But yeah,
Hmm.
clearly that had a part of this.
Did you see Lindsey Graham today on Fox News?
I've seen him a bunch in the last couple of days. I don't know what specifically what you're talking about.
He might be more of a warmonger than Dick Cheney.
Oh, I think he is. What's funny is he's always been known as a war hawk, but
Yeah.
in the past year especially, like he is frothing at the mouth. Like he wants to blow up people like bad. Like he gets
Oh,
excited when we do it.
he is fired up.
Yeah.
I mean, and I didn't pull too much of it, but because it just pisses me off so much. But I did pull one video from it to prove that it is oil.
Donald J. Trump is going to bring this regime down. It's going to be replaced by something more friendly to the United States. It's going to open up the biggest deal in 2,000 years where Saudi Arabia and Israel not only recognize each other, they will do business. Trump's a man of peace and business. Finally,
Yeah.
Venezuela and Iran have 31% of the world's oil reserves. We're
Yep.
going to have a partnership with 31% of the known reserves. This is China's nightmare.
Yeah.
This is a good investment, and we should applaud our men and women in the military who are doing something I've never seen done before, decimating a brutal enemy in 9 days.
Really?
Good old Lindsey. Yeah, no, that's about par for the course for what I've been seeing him say. I hadn't heard him say the whole thing about having a partnership with Saudi Arabia and Iran and controlling 31% of the oil flow. But yeah, that guy, he's being awfully unrealistic. And also, did you see there was a report over the weekend that Lindsey Graham had been traveling. We knew he'd been traveling to Israel like weekly, but apparently he'd been getting coached by Netanyahu on what to go back and say to Trump. And it's
Mm.
interesting because like certain people, specifically Laura Ingraham on Fox, have a problem with that. And Laura Ingraham had Ted Cruz on. I didn't pull any clips from it, but tonight and was grilling Ted Cruz about why Lindsey Graham would be working with the leader of a foreign country to try to influence our president. Like it was interesting. I'm glad she's standing up there, but yeah, that's a problem. So Lindsey's a problem.
Yeah, I pulled another video for Lindsay for later, but he seemed a little drunk on this show. It was Pretty wild. I also wanted to ask you, do you think that this is what they meant by drill, baby, drill?
No,
Just going to other countries and taking their oil?
I think that
We're gonna drill with bombs, baby. We're drilling.
Trump might try to say that now. But what's funny, he's even saying he's like, we're doing it, drill baby drill. Like our oil production is actually lower right now than it was under Biden. Like we had kind of hit like the peak under Biden, and now it's slightly down. He's acting like we weren't drilling under Biden. Like Biden was drilling. Like he was upsetting leftists because he was letting them drill in places they didn't want him to drill. But anyhow, it's
Yeah.
another
When were our strategic oil reserves depleted?
2023, I think, and it was when during kind of the peak of inflation and all that. So crude oil prices going up affect a lot. So a lot of our inflation had to do with crude oil prices being up, and that was
Hmm.
because of the war in Ukraine. And that's why the crude oil prices going up last night got everybody's attention, including Trump, because
Oh yeah.
that leads to inflation all over the place, and nobody wants that. So not even Trump right now. So
Well, talking about Putin, he apparently Trump talked to him today, said he was doing a great job, and
yeah,
that Putin was going to help him stop the war. Putin has no interest in this war stopping. His sanctions
no.
have been lifted, and if we take control of the Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz, then he's out money as well.
I don't think so. I agree with everything you said except for the very end. But if we take over the Strait of Hormuz, we're going to let Russia get in and out of there just like every other country. Like Trump's not going to do anything to
Until
hamper
Trump's
them.
out of office.
True, true. That would be a problem. But and Putin might think that Trump's not going to leave. He's going to pull a Putin and just stay there forever.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that you might be right on that one.
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean I got something on that too. Do you think that this is part of the plan? So, like, Netanyahu has all the connections and all the money to bribe our Congress.
Okay.
And do you think that I mean, he wants this bill passed, right? Which is going to really put a deficit on what the Democrats can pull off in the midterms.
The Save Act, and more people are saying that it's actually going to hurt red states more than blue states, like
Uh,
rural Americans, like white farmers out there, like that don't have their birth certificate. There are people that are saying that it's actually going to
White farmers have
disenfranchise.
IDs, though. They
Well,
have
it's
photo
not about
IDs.
having IDs; it's about having your birth certificate. Like your driver's license doesn't do. Like you need to have your birth certificate and or passport. Like
I think it's going to hurt the inner cities a little bit more.
I think it's going to hurt both, but for some reason, people seem to think it's going to hurt. And who knows? Maybe these people are crazy, but they're saying it's going to hurt like the rural Trump voting farmers more than anyhow. It'll be a net loss
Hmm.
for Republicans, is what some people are saying. I don't know if that's true. What people are saying.
You know, earlier I got on Chat GTP and I was like, I asked it, why does the US do everything Israel asks?
Okay.
And it went through this thing and I kept asking it questions. And I got to a question because it was like, it said something like the US Congress votes for their constituents. And I was like, oh, I was like, what is the percentage that the US Congress votes for their constituents? And this is what I got. All right, asked how often do politicians vote for the interests of their voters? Public versus elite preferences. Studies show that when the majority of citizens want a policy, it only influences outcomes about 40 to 50% of the time because elites, politicians, wealthy individuals, interest groups often have more sway.
Yeah, that's 100%. That's
So 40 to 50% of the time.
I'm surprised it's that high. Like it's like really it doesn't feel that high. So
That's insane.
yeah. Anyhow,
What is it like? Marijuana has a 67% approval rating
I
from
think so,
voters.
and like universal background checks for guns is like 80 something percent. But the lobbies, the lobbyists, whether it's big pharma or big tobacco or the gun lobby or the APAC, like you name it, the
Yep.
lobbies have the power. So we need a working class lobby, but then we'd have to donate all our money to it, and that'd be bad.
We'd have to donate a lot of our money to it, that's for sure.
Yeah,
What a nightmare.
nightmare. Hey, real quick, you asked me last night. I don't know why I just thought of this. You asked me last night how many people in Israel support the war and how many want it to end. And you remember I told you that most of them want the war to continue, and you were kind of shocked by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found a poll on that today. Um,
Okay. Who supports the U.S.-Israel attack on Iran? 36% approve.
For America.
In the United States, 36% approve, 54% disapprove. 10% don't know, which is weird. In Israel, 82% approve, 13% disapprove.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, you said
Yeah.
they hate
They don't like
they hate
Muslim people.
yeah.
And you got to think Iran, and in this case specifically, Iran has been funding and giving aid to Hamas and Hezbollah, who have been attacking Israel on the regular for the past 20 years, probably more than that. So, and
Yeah,
then
that's true.
you can make an argument on the other end that Hamas and Hezbollah are doing that because of the way that Israel's treated Gaza. You can go back and forth on it for 2,000 years. But anyhow, I just thought I'd get that
Right.
out. And then also, real quick, I mentioned at the end of the show last night that there was some kind of a threat. Our Homeland Security wanted to do a threat bulletin for the American people, and the Trump
Yes.
White House had blocked it. Well, because that became a big story last night that they blocked it, we now know what the story was. This is from ABC.
Okay.
The U.S. has intercepted encrypted communications believed to have originated in Iran that may serve as an operational trigger for sleeper assets outside the country, according to federal government alerts sent to law enforcement agencies. So basically, we through surveillance captured that they were trying to transmit some kind of a code to the sleeper cells here in America, telling them it's time to attack. That's kind of a big deal, and you should let everybody know that ASAP. The fact the White House put a
Yeah.
hold on that is kind of ridiculous, but
Well, it's dangerous for the American people,
very.
but it doesn't really save them because if it does happen, and then they find out that they blocked that, it just looks bad on them. They're so stupid.
Yeah.
This administration is dumb.
Well, here's to illustrate how dumb they are real quick. First of all, Pete Hegseth went on 60 Minutes last night on CBS. There was a lot of clips that I wish I could have pulled, but 60 Minutes copyrights all their stuff, and we've had issues with that in the past. So I didn't pull anything. But Hegseth said repeatedly that the war has just begun. Like, we're in the early stages of this. Okay, so that happened. And then today, let me see what time this was. Today at 2:25 p.m., the War Department tweeted a picture of a missile going up that says "No mercy," and the tweet says, "We have only just begun to fight." Okay, that is at 2:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Shortly, and I mean real shortly after that, Donald Trump tweeted at 3:16. So that was at 49 minutes later, something like that. 51 minutes later, less than an hour later, Donald Trump tweet. Or this isn't Donald Trump. This is, I can't even say this name, Weijia Jiang. She is a reporter for CBS. She says, new in a phone interview, President Trump told me the war could be over soon. I think the war is very complete, pretty much. And that's a direct quote. They have no Navy, no communications. They've got no Air Force. He added that the U.S. is very far ahead of its 4 to 5 week estimated time frame. So 2:25, we've only just begun from the War Department. Less than an hour later, we get this tweet, which means he called sometime in that middle ground, in that hour he called. And he's been just calling reporters randomly, saying kind of but trying new material on them, trying different, like he can't, today, 3 or 4 different times he used the word excursion. He's like, oh, this is just a little excursion. And people are losing their shit about that. I don't see why that's such a big deal, but, one of the guys on CNN tonight just said, hey, he's trying out new material. He's seeing what messaging is working. So he's trying a little bit here and a little bit there until something sticks.
Have you noticed that everybody laughs at his jokes now?
Are they laughing at his jokes or are they laughing at him?
He did a press conference today and he doesn't have very good jokes.
That press conference was, so I'm going to stop you right there.
Tonight?
Yeah, he had 2 today. Yeah, he had 2 different events today and he took questions at both of them. But it was basically at the entire GOP Congress is down in Florida for their yearly meeting. And while down there, there's all kinds of fundraisers with the billionaire donors and whatnot and the different lobbies. So that was a room full of GOP congressmen and donors to the GOP. So he had the most home field advantage ever. So yeah, they gave him a warm response, and then there was some press in there, and I'll give him credit. He finally took questions. He hadn't done a press conference since the war started. He did take questions. And let me tell you, I got many videos tonight for you.
Okay,
I got a lot of
good,
it.
because it was bad. I didn't
Yeah.
pull any of it, but it was bad.
It was Jekyll and Hyde. It was back and forth. Like he would contradict
Mhm.
himself within 10 seconds. It was kind of ridiculous. But so to back up real quick, we've said many, many times that the one thing that gets his attention is the stock market. So last night, the stock market looked in trouble. Japan was down, South Korea was down. We were 2% down on futures. I think oil hit $130 a barrel at one point in the
Was
futures
it
market last night.
130? Wow.
It was close to there. It was right around
I
130.
After we did our pod last night, I ran and got gas, and
Even knowing what we know now, I still would have told you to do that. And I
yeah,
think that so to jump ahead, oil's down to like $87 a barrel right
yeah.
now. But I would still say keep your shit full, because I think that it's going to bounce back and forth a couple times. So it doesn't seem like this is over. But Rubio. So first thing happened today. This is before Trump called that reporter and told her that the war is pretty much over. Rubio came out. So first of all, what have you heard Trump say that our objectives are for this war? What are our goals? Can you think of any
There's
of them?
none. There's
Well,
no objectives.
he said about 10 of them, but it's like we don't. He changes it every time, so we really don't know.
Well, he doesn't really have any objectives. He just has reasons why we went to war that keeps changing. Like
Okay, well, but
first it was the nukes, then it was the regime change, then it was the nukes again. Now I think it's still the nukes, but there's also the oil,
so
and Netanyahu influenced him, and Lindsey Graham influenced him. So and then Marco Rubio is also a war hawk. So, and then Pete Hegseth really likes to blow shit up. So there's just all these things that have come together.
you're saying all the real reasons. I'm saying the reasons Trump has said.
Oh, okay.
The nuclear program, I think, was number one. Like that was the
Okay.
main thing he kind of said at first. Is they were trying to restart their nuclear program. Ballistic missiles, it was in it for a while.
Okay.
Regime change, he went back and forth on whether depending on what day it was, we were either trying to do
Mhm.
regime change or not. Freeing the Iranian people, he said a couple different times, and preventing them from basically showing their power through their proxies, through Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. So those are
Okay.
just some of the reasons that he told us.
Oh, and he said that if they didn't do it, we were gonna get hit anyway because Israel was gonna do it. That was
He-
another one of his reasons.
Yeah, that was because Iran was going to strike us first.
And
Because
now I think I heard him say something about if we didn't do it, he was gonna blow up the whole Middle
yeah,
East.
save that. I've got a clip on
Okay.
that. But so we listed a whole bunch of possible objectives, but every time they would try to ask Trump what his objectives were, he kind of would dance around it. He'd list a couple things, and it was never the same. Like you would hope there would be 3 or 4 bullet points. Like here's our objectives. That's what we'd normally
Yeah.
get, and he wasn't ever giving us that. So Rubio came out today and listed, I believe it was 3 objectives. What we're trying to do, and
Oh.
shockingly, it's 3 that you could already make the case we've already done like that. So.
Oh.
Here's Rubio real quick.
The goals of this mission are clear, and it's important to continue to remind the American people of why it is that the greatest military in the history of the world is engaged in this operation. It is to destroy the ability of this regime to launch missiles, both by destroying their missiles and their launchers, destroy the factories that make these missiles, and destroy their Navy.
Okay.
Missiles, Navy.
Okay.
Okay.
Missile factories, Navy.
Yes. Nothing about nuclear at all there.
Mhm.
Nothing about regime change. Nothing about freeing the Iranian people. Nothing about the oil. Nothing
Mhm.
about limiting their power to flex their muscles through Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. Like 3 things that we've kind of already, you could say that we've really hit their missile program hard. And Trump keeps saying that we've totally obliterated their Navy, but today, one of the clips I didn't pull, he said that we've sunk 51 Iranian ships, which apparently is about half of the Iranian army. So it is a big deal that we've taken out half of their army. There's still 51 ships out there, supposedly. So anyhow,
Okay.
so that was my first clue. When Rubio came out and said that was before Trump talked to the reporter and told her it's almost over. But he listed those 3 objectives, and it's like, oh, well, you could kind of make the case that we've already done that. So are they getting ready to say mission accomplished? Like it felt like that was the direction we were heading. And then Trump had his call with the CBS reporter. This is going to go back and forth between the two press conferences Trump had today, but he said a lot of really fun stuff. First of all, after his tweet, everybody's saying, hey, Pete Hegseth just last night on CBS was telling us that this is just the beginning. You're making it sound like we're pretty much done. Which one is it? Here's Trump's response.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Mr. President, you've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared
Well, I think
for
you could
this war
say
to
it
last
both.
for?
It's the beginning of building a new country, but they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment. It's all been blown up. They have no radar, they have no telecommunications, and they have no leadership. It's all gone. So, you could look at that statement. We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further.
So it's pretty much complete, is what he told the reporter, and then like an hour or two later said we're going to go further. He did say you can pretty much call it a success right now. I don't know if I'd go that far. I think if he just declared victory and left right now, like he said, they have no Air Force, they have no Navy. First of all, half the Navy still exists. The Air Force, there's some questions about. I've seen different reporting, and I don't know how much I believe of anything, that apparently they got most of their planes to like underground bunkers before the war and just aren't even showing them. Their goal is to survive this, and then after this is over, pull their planes back out because they knew their planes would get taken out by our Air Force is way better than theirs. So they knew that. So theoretically, some people think they still have most of their Air Force. They have half of their Navy, and he said they have no leadership. They just named the new Ayatollah, and it's the Ayatollah Khamenei's son. Who, this is an interesting one. First of all, Trump said that was one person that was totally unacceptable. It can't be him. Well, that's who they picked, and he, in the initial strikes that very first day, lost his dad, his sister, his wife, and his son all to the bombs right off the bat. So this is a man that already is supposed to be more hardline than his father. He was the head of the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is their it's like their SS, like they're not a good group. He was the head of them. He supposed to be more hardline than his dad, and he just lost his entire family to Israeli and American bombs. How do you think this guy's going to want to start fresh with a new relationship with America and Israel?
No.
Hell
He's
no.
a dead man walking already.
He wisely has not shown up anywhere yet. Like normally when they name a new leader, he would come out and do a speech. Nobody's seen him. So, and he's kind of a mysterious figure. Like there's not a lot of tape on him in general. Like we don't have a lot of tapes to pull in. So, here's what he said way back then. No. Anyhow, the other thing that was fun with initially on this press conference is remember Trump's reason why we had to do it? What was the imminent threat? Why did we have to do it right now, according to Carolyn Levitt?
The nuclear threat.
No, remember, it was a feeling based on fact.
Oh, yeah.
Trump had a feeling based on fact, which is a great line.
Based on Netanyahu.
Yeah, pretty much.
Netanyahu is my feeling.
Here's Trump describing what led him to say this is the moment we had to go.
The situation was very quickly approaching the point of no return, and the United States found it intolerable, in my opinion, based on what Steve and Jared and Pete and others were telling me, Marco, so involved, that I thought that they were going to attack us. I thought they would, if we didn't do this at the time we did it, I think they had in mind to attack us. And
it wasn't the vote that was coming up.
Nope, it was just he felt like if we didn't do it right then, Israel or Iran was going to launch a war against the entire Western civilization, and the Middle East. Does anybody believe that bullshit? Like anybody in that room?
No.
They were about to launch. Basically, they were about to start a world war. Everybody except for them and Russia and China.
Dude, they don't even have water in their biggest city, which is, I think it's bigger than New York.
Yeah, Tehran is. I don't know if it's larger or has a bigger population, but Tehran is huge.
Yeah, yeah, so, and they don't even have like good water supply there.
No, yeah,
they're just trying to survive, not start wars with America.
Yeah. Which, and you can make it. I don't like it when any country gets nukes. I wish no countries had nukes. But the lesson that everybody's learned in the last 20 years. If you have a nuke, that's the only way to protect yourself from America. Libya was really close to getting a nuke, and we went in and we got Gaddafi, and he got, I don't know, do you remember how Gaddafi got killed by his people?
Say that again? Sorry.
Do you remember how Gaddafi got killed by his people?
Wasn't he beheaded?
No.
That was Saddam.
Yeah, Saddam got hung. Gaddafi got chased down in the streets by his people, and he got graped,
Oh,
or
oh yeah.
impaled by a sword till he bled out
Oh yeah. Yeah.
up the rear. So anyhow, so North Korea, if you look at all the countries we mess with, North Korea is the only one that we're not messing with, and they have a nuke. So if you're Iran or any of these other countries, the best thing you could do would be to get a nuke for your own protection against America. And that's I don't want them to. I'm just saying if you're in their shoes, oh look, the only country America's not messing with is North Korea. What does North Korea have? What makes them different? Oh, they got a nuke. Anyhow, just throwing that out there.
You know who's looking really good right now?
Who?
China.
China's doing a good job of just staying out of this. And every time we screw with the country or we pull back funding, they slide right in behind us. And they're like, hey, we saw America just stripped all of its aid to you guys. Do you guys need some aid? We can help you out with that.
Yeah. Well, the last time that they were in a full-scale war was March of 1979. It only lasted 2 months.
Who was that against? Japan?
The Vietnam, the Sino-Vietnamese War.
What year was that?
It was 1979, February to March of 1979.
So that
So it
was
was only
after
2 months.
that was after we got out of Vietnam. I don't know
Do you
much
know
about
how many
that.
wars we've been involved in since then?
A lot.
A lot.
I
China's
get.
looking really good. You know why they can have high-speed rails and I don't know, do they have Medicaid for all, Medicare for all?
I have no clue what their healthcare situation is.
Yeah. Anyway, because they don't spend money on fucking military.
Yeah, well, no, but here's the thing: they do though, especially in the past 20 years. Like they're challenging us. Everybody's saying very quickly they are going to have a bigger and more powerful military than us. So for a long time they did not, but now they are investing in their military.
Well, that's because we build it up and then we deplete it.
Yeah, we're not good with
And
that.
they're just building it. They're just building upon building it.
Also, so the theory from a lot of people was that Trump came out today because of the stock market. Trump said, "Oh no, we're almost done. We're about to end it." And then Lindsey Graham, Netanyahu, those kind of people got to Trump and they said, "What are you doing? You can't end it." And they convinced him to then say, "We're going to keep doing it." That's what everybody thinks. There has been reporting tonight that's actually by damn good reporters that are saying that actually Israel might be really, really okay at this point with ending the war right now. For now, they wouldn't be over. It'd be just time for them to replenish. But they've hit a point like we're not seeing it on normal TV, but Tel Aviv is getting rocked nightly. And like Trump and a lot of people on the American side keep saying, oh, yeah, we're really diminishing their missiles. They're not launching as many as they used to. No, they are. They're just launching it mainly at Israel and Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
And apparently, Israel and us are getting really low on interceptors. So it's already one of those points where it's like, maybe we say time out, truce for now, and give us the time to build back. And then we do this again in another 6 months or a year or whenever it is. I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying good reporters are pointing out that Israel might actually be okay with ending it soon just due to lack of interceptors. So
Yeah, and you mentioned that they moved all their aircraft underground. Like how many missiles did they move underground?
so most of their missiles supposedly are underground. There's no way to tell what's true and what's not here.
Yeah.
They're acting like they've got stockpiles of drones and missiles in caves that haven't even been pulled out yet. Apparently, America does believe that they do have a lot of missiles left, but apparently the missiles are no good without the launcher, and we've been taking out the launchers left and right.
Mm,
So, and I think that does make sense. I tend to buy that argument. What makes the drones so effective is there's lots of different ways to launch those drones, and it's a lot easier to do. So they can
sure.
keep sending drones for a long time. But as far as missiles go, if they run out of launchers, then the missiles are paperweights at that point, theoretically. So.
Huh.
Anyhow, just real quick to end up on where we're at with the war here. Trump tweeted tonight, if Iran does anything that stops the flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the United States of America 20 times harder than they've been hit thus far. Additionally, we will take out easily destroyable targets that will make it virtually impossible for Iran to ever be built back as a nation again. Death, fire, and fury will rain upon them. But I hope and pray that it does not happen. This is a gift from the United States to China and all of those nations that heavily use the Strait of Hormuz. Hopefully, it is a gesture that will be greatly appreciated. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So he's basically calling on them to immediately let ships start passing through the Strait of Hormuz. That is and last night just reinforced what they already knew. Their best thing they can do is hit the American stock market. Like that is their number one card to play. And by keeping the Strait of Hormuz choked off and let's just say dangerous to navigate through, then why there's no way they're just going to give that up. That's the best way to hurt us, and they know that, and they know that
Have they
that'll
put
make.
the mines in yet?
Supposedly, it's already mined, and we don't.
Okay.
I don't know. Who knows if it is or not? Trump also said today that we're just going to take over the Strait of Hormuz, and okay,
Yeah.
that's a fun idea. But what happens a lot of times to ships going through the Strait of Hormuz is like the Houthi rebels hit them with missiles from random places. So if
Yeah.
we just have our ships sitting there guarding the strait, I hate to even say this, but like there's going to be a couple of them that are going to get hit. Like I feel like it's just a matter of it's a numbers game at that point. They're going to fire a lot of missiles, and one or two of them is going to get through. That's bad. If we have ships that are getting hit and possibly sunk, that's going to be bad back home. Let's just say. So
Totally.
yeah.
Speaking of missiles, I want to go back to this girls' school and the Tomahawk missiles.
Hold on. Give me a second before we go there.
Okay.
Iran responded to Trump's tweet. And this is an official statement through like the Iranian state news agency. But it says any Arab or European country that expels the ambassadors of Israel and America from its soil will, starting tomorrow, have full authority and freedom to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. So if you're willing to kick Israeli and American ambassadors out of your country, they're going to let you through. That's not going to happen, but interesting response from them.
No.
So on the school that somebody hit with a Tomahawk missile, the final count on that appears to be 168 girls aged 7 to 12 were killed and 14 teachers. I'm curious. I wonder if there's injured teachers because 168 school kids to 14 staff, like that doesn't make sense to me. And who knows? Maybe these numbers they're still digging through the rubble. I don't know. But
that's about 25 students per teacher.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I for some reason I thought it'd be
That's what we
higher,
do.
but yeah. But then we have all the staff up front. Maybe they don't have like all the front office staff and all that I'm thinking of. But
Yeah.
anyhow, where we left off with this last time was that the New York Times, CNN, Axios, Reuters, like a lot of different independent news agencies have basically confirmed that this was an American Tomahawk that hit the school. And also it was a double tap. We hit it, and then we hit it again 20 minutes later, as Israel's taught us to do in the war in Gaza.
So that is two strikes against humanity.
You would think so. Anyhow, Trump, we played a clip yesterday of Trump on Air Force One, and they asked him, if there was any chance it was American. He said no, it was probably Iran that did it. And then that reporter, I don't know if you remember, that reporter, he said, Pete, is that true? And Pete was like, oh, well, we're investigating, and surprisingly didn't fully back up Trump there. He said, we're investigating. That reporter, you're going to see a clip from again in a second, but his name is Sean McCreesh, and he is...
I have to say something about investigating.
Okay.
If we didn't do it, I mean, we can look through our records and see all the missiles that we shot and where they were aimed at, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would think there'd be a log. That should only take
It'd be
an
super easy to
hour
investigate.
max to investigate that, if we did it or not.
Super easy to investigate.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
anyhow, that reporter's name is Sean McCreesh, and he is with the New York Times. I do have the second video we're going to play here in a minute is of Sean McCreesh. You can put a face to the guy you love, but I suggest you give him a follow on the New York Times. Anyhow, here's the first question Trump got tonight about the school.
Yeah. Please, go ahead.
There's footage that shows that an American missile strike and a Tomahawk missile likely destroyed that Iranian girls' school. So will the U.S. accept any responsibility?
Well, I
for that
haven't seen
strike?
it, and I will say that the Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries, you know that. And whether it's Iran, who also has some Tomahawks, I wish they had more, but whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a Tomahawk is very generic, it's sold to other countries, but that's being investigated right now.
Is that true?
No, that's so full of shit. If I was a fact checker, I would give that a liar, pants on fire. There are three countries. So there's three countries right now that possess Tomahawks: Two of them are our allies. The third is an ally, Japan, and they are in a testing phase. They're basically learning to use Tomahawks. They're not using them operationally right now. There are two other countries that have Tomahawks. Iran ain't one of them. Iran doesn't have Tomahawks. He is full of shit there. I wish somebody would follow up on that. Good news. Sean McCreesh from the New York Times is here.
You just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a Tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But Tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have Tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report. Yeah, please.
So this is going to be, like you said, the investigation matters to me here. This is going to be a what did the president know and when did he know it? Because the president's flat out lying to the American people about killing a school full of girls. Okay, yeah. I think he knows damn well, or who knows? Maybe they're not telling him. I got to believe that that's not. I don't think that would be true. But leave it up to Fox News. First of all, every channel fact checked that, but I was proud that Fox News actually did. Jennifer Griffin, who I've mentioned to you a bunch, when it comes to like Pentagon correspondence, Jennifer Griffin is the best in the game. She's on Fox. Brett Baer brought her on to fact check this. So here you go.
Okay.
I want to bring in Jen Griffin, our national security correspondent. One of the questions, Jen, in that news conference was about the strike on the girls' school that's next to a base in Iran, and it was a Tomahawk missile. The president saying Tomahawks are used by other countries, but an investigation is ongoing. What do we know about where that stands?
Well, that was a bit surprising to me because basically the U.S. has Tomahawks. Tomahawks have to be fired from either submarines or from warships. The Brits and the Australians have Tomahawks, but they're not part of this conflict. And then you also have the Japanese who are in a testing phase. So it seems highly unlikely that it would be anyone's Tomahawk other than a U.S. Tomahawk that hit that school. And I think the president knows that. He just knows that this is certainly a mistake, a big mistake, and it's being investigated, but he's trying to sort of muddy the waters by talking about the Tomahawks.
Yeah, they were saying that they didn't believe it was theirs, or they believed that Iran misfired something. Are we sure that it was a Tomahawk that hit that school? There's no evidence that the Iranians fired anything at the school. If you look at the satellite imageries, and there have been a lot of investigations from the air, from these satellite photos, showing the impact and showing the likelihood that it was a Tomahawk.
Good on Fox News. Because I've told you, it's been bothering me the past couple of days that on Twitter, there's a bunch of right-wing accounts that are trying to show proof that it was Iran that bombed their own school. That needed to be said to the right. So I'm glad that Fox News had her on, and they trust her, I believe. So
okay.
Anyhow, but yeah, supposedly, late last week, we had somebody from the Pentagon brief Congress, and they told Congress, yeah, it looks like it was our Tomahawk. Like that's already been said, but that was a classified briefing, so nobody can come out and say that on the record. Anyhow, that's where I'll bet Trump's going to get lucky, and by the time that this fully wraps up, we're going to have forgotten about the school. I think he's going to get off on this just through we don't have a good attention span.
Bro, we haven't talked about Epstein in like 4 episodes.
He's doing great at distracting from Epstein. Yeah. Anyhow, that's all I got for tonight. What did you bring for me?
All right. Let's see here. So let's see. Let's talk about Israel first. We talked about Israeli government and like why they have a president and a prime minister.
Yeah,
right?
did you? I didn't dig on that. Did you figure anything out?
I looked into it a little bit, and the president is the head of state, largely ceremonial. He basically fosters unity for the country.
Okay.
And the prime minister is the head of government, executive power. So Netanyahu is the lead of Israel.
But somehow
the president is just kind of like the king.
So it's weird though, because somehow Netanyahu has all these charges that he keeps getting pushed back. Every time he's supposed to have a trial on this, they push it back for one reason or another. And Trump is calling on the president to pardon Netanyahu. So even though the president's just ceremonial, he does hold the power of the pardon, I guess.
So the prime minister votes in, picks his, I guess it's some kind of cabinet.
Okay.
And then I forget what it's called, but there's some kind of cabinet. There's like 160 people in it.
Is
And
it
then they vote on the president.
Is it the Knesset?
Yes.
I believe that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, the Knesset. And they vote on who the president is. So basically he voted on the president. So I don't know. I'm not sure where they fell out of.
He picked the people that voted for the president, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
pretty much. So
don't get it.
yeah. And then a few episodes back, maybe like 6 or 7 episodes back, we talked about the American tourism and how it was getting destroyed.
Yes.
And this is from the New York Times and Kyle Klinsky. Check out this video.
11 million visitors short. Inside America's continuing tourism slump. Last year, the U.S. was the only major destination to see a decline in international travelers. With increased scrutiny at the border, ICE violence, and unpredictable policies, the new year isn't looking better. Ladies and gentlemen, 11 million visitors short. That's not a whoopsie. That's a message from the world. We don't like you, we see what you're doing, and we want nothing to fucking do with it. Okay?
So the fact that there was a decline at all is bad because that's one of those things that it just gradually goes up every year. And I think that he kind of hit it on the head, but there's multiple reasons for it. If you're a brown person from, a brown country, coming to America has got to be scary as hell. You could get picked up off the street and sent to a country you've never been before.
Yeah.
And then also you just have a lot of people that are mad at America right now. They don't want to come here. They don't want to put their money into it. A lot of the Canadians, apparently, that would normally vacation in the U.S. are flying over us and going to Mexico. Europeans aren't coming here. So that's big. What I'm curious about, I'm going to have to look this up, but 11 million short of what? Like, what's the total number? How many?
Well, hold on. I've got another video from Kyle K here,
Okay.
where he's reading the article. Check this one out.
Fascist as we are. When 11 million international visitors aren't showing up, the result is billions of dollars in economic losses to the travel industry, said Eric Hansen, a senior vice president at the U.S. Travel Association, a trade group that promotes travel to and within the country. Visa fees and social media vetting. The Trump administration has made it significantly harder for some travelers to enter the United States, barring visitors from more than a dozen countries and introducing a $250 visa integrity fee for non-immigrant tourist and business visas designed to discourage visitors from overstaying. Visitors are also facing more rigorous vetting at the border with increased searches of electronic devices, some resulting in detentions and denied entry. Citizens of countries who just need an electronic authorization to visit the United States may soon be required to provide up to 5 years of social media history. Are you kidding me? To enter. That could result in a loss of up to $15.7 billion in visitor spending, according to the World Travel and Tourism Council.
Okay, yeah, and that all those and kind of what I didn't realize is from what he said, we're purposely doing this. Like, we're making it harder for people to come into America as a visitor, which doesn't make sense. And I looked there. We in 2023 we had 66.5 million international visitor arrivals. So 11 off of that is 55 million. That's a bit. I mean, that's what is that?
That's
I can't do percentages, but yeah, that's that's a decent amount. So
good. Yeah, it's 1/6 of our tourism dollars is gone.
Okay,
So
well,
that's a lot of money. 1/6. I mean, it's 15. What do you say? 15.4 billion or something like that.
yeah, Trump will say, "Oh, but we raised 900 billion with tariffs," which, hey, real quick, I didn't have anything for this, but the first case happened in front of a judge where a judge ruled that America does have to pay back tariffs to, like, it was one company that was suing on tariffs.
Yeah.
And the government responded to the judge and just said, "Sorry, we don't have it anymore. We've spent it. We can't pay it back because we don't have it." And it was like, well, hold on. We've already said that this money was going to go. Remember all the things we're gonna bail out the farmers. We're giving it to Argentina.
I was going to get $2,000
stimulus checks. There was like 10 different things that Trump said we were going to use the tariff money for. And we told the court the other day that we don't have it anymore. We've already spent it. It's gone. We can't possibly pay it back.
Wasn't every child going to get like $1,000 for college or for
That's
the stock
happening
market?
still. That's been happening regardless of tariffs. Any kid born in the year 2025 got a $1,000, and it's basically like a Roth IRA or something like that, where you don't get it right now. It's a bank account that the kid can get when they're of college age.
Does the U.S. government, does Trump have access to all these bank accounts?
No, but it's called like the Trump account or something like that. They slapped his name on it. So
oh my gosh, so these kids have to grow up with a Trump account?
Yep. So
hopefully Oh my
Anyhow,
gosh.
so also, hold on,
Indoctrination galore right there.
while I'm venting about things that I didn't pull for the show, the 250th anniversary is coming up this summer on Trump's birthday, and apparently somebody just found out that because Trump has his name trademarked, but like I don't fully understand how trademarks work. I read a story, so if anybody's watching this and I'm wrong, fill me in the comments. But he basically re-registered how his name is trademark wise to now apply to any of the America 250th anniversary ceremonies, paraphernalia,
He's
like
charging
that.
us to
So
use
yeah,
his name.
so anytime that the government uses his name in association with the 250th birthday, they'll have to pay some kind of a royalty fee to Trump for using his name.
And that's coming out of our tax
That's
dollars.
coming out of tax dollars. Yeah.
What a scam artist.
I
Oh my
know.
gosh.
Dude,
He is scamming the United States of
dude,
America
like
out of every last cent he can.
like 3 months ago, because he's been kind of lobbying for an airport to be named after him for quite a while. And there's an airport in Florida. It might be the one near Mar-a-Lago. I can't remember. But they said they're going to change the name to like the Trump International Airport. And they said that, and then like 3 days later, there was a story just like this where Trump had changed the trademark on his name to apply to airport naming rights. So not only is the city going to do this for him, but now they also have to pay him to be able to do this for him.
Oh my God. I'd be so mad if I lived in that city.
Well, they're going to do it. They're going to do it with a smile.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
Yeah.
not only is this war costing us so much money, but like we're also just paying Trump. What is this lawsuit that he's involved in against the United States government?
There's two lawsuits. He's suing because of the raid at Mar-a-Lago when they came down to get all the stolen documents back. He's suing for that, and then he's
$10 billion
also
dollars?
maybe that was probably one of them. And then the other one he's suing because somebody from the IRS leaked his tax returns in 2019 when he was the president and in charge of the IRS. So he's suing two different ways. And yeah, it was like 10 billion for one, and like one of them was ridiculous, like a lot more than that. I can't remember.
More than 10 billion?
I can't remember.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on.
This is insane. And like, what if he gets those billions of dollars from our treasury? That's our tax money. Like we can't even have universal health care
So it's 10
or
billion.
pre-K. Didn't they take pre-K away? Pre-K?
I'm not sure about that. Real quick, it's 10 billion that he's suing because of the IRS thing, and it's 230 million he's suing because of the Mar-a-Lago raid. So 10 billion, 230 million is how much he's totally
Oh
suing.
my gosh.
And we haven't even heard about those recently. Like, and remember, like, it's up to the one about the IRS is up to the Treasury Secretary to decide whether or not to just pay it out without a trial. You know who the Treasury Secretary is?
Scott Bassett.
Scott Bessent. And then the other one for the Mar-a-Lago raid is up to the Deputy Attorney General to decide whether or not to pay it out. And that's Todd Blanche, who is his defense lawyer in the Mar-a-Lago raid. So they
This
might have
guy.
they might have already decided to pay him out, and we just don't know about it.
Oh my gosh.
Doug?
Here we go. The Trump administration has taken steps to reduce federal funding for early childhood education, specifically targeting and proposing the elimination of Head Start programs,
Yeah.
which provides free preschool to low-income families. Reports indicate funding freezes. I mean, this just screws over poor people even more because, like, if you have a child, that's free
Yeah.
childcare.
And they've been railing against this is pre-Trump. Republicans have been trying to get rid of Head Start for 20 years at this point. And they finally I think they did successfully get rid of it with the big beautiful bill, if I remember correctly.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, and just to harp on this for a second, we always talk about free higher education, making college free for people, but smart people that did the studies, they realized that actually our money would be much better spent on the preschool, pre-K, whatever, because it's all about getting the foundation there. And if like a lot of kids roll into kindergarten and they haven't ever tried to read or anything like that, and once you're behind, you're just like they just kind of pass you, and you keep getting passed every year, but you're not learning the material and blah.
Yeah.
For a whole lot of reasons, if we were gonna invest money in education, it appears it would make more sense to do it in the pre-K side than it would in the higher education side. That's
But
the
we
argument
already
that's been made.
had it. We already had it. And so then we were pushing for more on the other end.
I think Head Start started under Obama.
Yeah, so we had I mean
It might have
I
been
went to
been
pre-K.
W.
Yeah, I went to pre-K.
Never mind. Head Start started in 1965.
Okay. Yeah.
So never mind. Lyndon Johnson, part of his war on poverty.
Yeah, I went to pre-K. Like what?
Well, I'm
Yeah.
sure I went to pre-K, but I think my mom had to pay. I went to a Baptist church for pre-K.
Yeah. So I mean, we're just taking steps backwards as a decent society.
Yeah.
More steps. This is just another thing to add to the list of steps we've taken backwards since Trump's in only 13 months.
Yeah. It's not good.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So,
All right, I got one funny thing to end this with.
okay, I have something after yours, but I got one thing that's eating at me. I got to get off my chest. What do you
want
got?
to do that first?
No, I'm going to save mine for the very end. It's going to be a mic drop.
Okay. All right. I want to go back to Lindsey Graham.
Okay.
Like I said, he might have been drunk during this. I just want you, and Kyle Kalinske actually pointed this out, and I had to pull it.
United States, you just wait to see what comes in the next 2 weeks.
The next 2 weeks, meaning what?
We're going to blow the hell out of these people. This regime is in a death row now. It is going to be on its knees.
I don't know. I don't know if Trump or if Graham meant that he was going to blow him up or if he was going to blow him. But either way,
he's going to blow them, and they're going to be on their knees.
I saw a great tweet the other day that said Lindsey Graham isn't afraid of going to hell because he thinks that's where all the gay guys are. I thought that was. I laughed really hard at that.
Isn't there rumors that he is gay?
It's been forever. His nickname is Lady G. The only girlfriend we ever know about him having is Laura Ingraham, and people said that was kind of they did that to dispel any rumors about Lindsey being gay, so it wasn't a real relationship. They just kind of pretended they were dating so people wouldn't think Lindsey's gay. He's never had a girlfriend that we've seen. He's never been married, no kids. Somebody on the right, and it might have been, I don't think it was Charlie Kirk, but somebody like that always said about Lindsey Graham that they don't think that anybody who's not married and has no kids should be making decisions about the future of our country because they have no skin in the game. That it's not gonna affect their kids. And actually, that made a lot of sense to me. So
no, I don't have any kids. I'm not married.
Yeah, well then I don't want you making decisions about the future of my country.
I get to vote.
Voting, I'll let you do, but other than that, I'm not letting you do it. So.
Just be gay, Lindsey. Come out. You can come out. It's okay.
So
it's okay. It's 2026. It's fine to be gay.
South Carolina would not agree with you. Republican voters in South Carolina. By the way, have you seen what the new attack on James Tallarico is?
No.
So they're really pushing this now online, but they're saying that Tallarico's clearly gay, and the mainstream media is covering for him because they know that Democrats, especially African American Democrats, aren't cool with the gay stuff. So that's what they're trying to push. And I started thinking about it because at first I was like, why are they making this shit up? But then I did think about it for a second. It's like, do we know that he's not gay? Jerry Seinfeld had an old bit about like, I'm clean, neat, and single. And like that apparently is like the sign somebody might be gay. He's very clean cut. He's very neat. He's very proper. He's almost a little feminine. And I've never heard about him dating or anything. So it's interesting because at first I thought, well, clearly this is a lie and he should come out and say it's a lie. But also, like, this has been going on for 2 or 3 days now, and he hasn't said anything. And wouldn't that be just about our luck that, like, oh my God, we've got this new Obama, he's great. And then now it's going to come out. It's like, how did it not come out that he was gay in the primary? First of all, I don't think it should matter. I don't at all. I just also think that a gay man's not going to win the Senate in Texas. And had we known this in the primary, I would have said go Jasmine Crockett. Now, that being said, we don't know this, and he very well might not be. But I will say it's raising questions in my mind where I'm like, is he? And again, if he is, it doesn't bother me at all. I wanted Pete Buttigieg in 2020. Like, I was all about Pete Buttigieg. So it doesn't bother me. I just also am realistic about where our country is. So anyhow.
Yeah, where Texas is. I mean,
Texas specifically. So anyhow, you got anything else for us tonight?
That's all I got.
Okay. The only thing I want to end on, you sent me a text today. First of all, we have a rule that I don't respond to our comments. If anybody ever gets a response from us in the comments, it's Docs. It's not me. I'm not doing that stuff. You texted me today and said, hey, 2 comments for you to respond to on the short that you posted. Which also, the shorts that you post are always like 95% me. And I'm like, I don't want...
You talk 95% of the podcast. So.
I think I do. Anyhow, every time I see one of your shorts, I'm like, why is it me? Anyhow, so two people were making fun of me because I said that I had a problem with Trump showing up to the dignified transfer of the remains wearing a ball cap. And I do have a problem with that. I'm not backing down from that at all. And their thing was like, he can wear a hat or no hat or a tie or no tie. I don't give a crap, man. It was kind of that thing. I wish I could remember what the other one was like, oh, I'm sorry he offended your fashion sense. You know what? This is what pisses me off is I don't know who those two people are, but I'm willing to bet that those are the kind of MAGAs that were mad because Colin Kaepernick is disrespecting the troops because he's or oh, they're burning a flag. You can't burn a flag. That's disrespecting America. Those are the kind of people that are now like, oh, I don't care if he wears a tie to the dignified transfer of the remains of troops that have died because of a decision he made. Okay,
Nobody else had a hat on.
The hypocrisy with some people, and I'm not talking about all Republicans, and I'm not even talking about all Trump voters. I'm talking about a very specific group of Trump voters that will act like they're very passionate about one thing, and then Trump will change his mind and do the opposite, and then they're just like, okay, yeah, we're on this side now. And it's like, do you stand for nothing? Do you stand for absolutely nothing in your life?
They're the same people. I'm gonna let you. They're the same people that were reaping no new wars, and then when Trump bombed Venezuela and now Iran, like they're pro-war.
And that's, like I said, I don't know those two people that commented that, but I just have a hunch that they're those kind of people. And they can kiss my ass with that, okay? Decide whether or not you stand for something and then fucking stick to it. That's where I want to end with this, okay? I am sick of the hypocrisy, okay? It's driving me nuts. And I always tell you that there's things on the left that I could make fun of and things on the right that I can make fun of. Well, you know what? On this one, it's simply a right-leaning issue, okay? There's a group of MAGAs that they don't believe in anything and they'll just do whatever Trump does. Whatever Trump does, they're cool with. On the left, Biden broke some promises and Biden did something and they destroyed him for it. Like they basically made it to where he couldn't possibly win in 2024 because they didn't do what he wanted. The left at least has some principles, even though sometimes it becomes like a circular firing squad and they get rid of good candidates.
Yeah,
I get it, but at least they're standing on principle. What do the kids say it now? Standing 10 toes down or something like that. MAGA ain't got that in them, and it's driving me up the wall. And it started with like the RFK Maha stuff, and then, oh, did you see they're allowing food colors now? And oh, they're protecting the makers of glyphosate from any legal, legal threats. Like, and they all were just like, well, at least he's doing whole milk or, whatever. What? No, wait. Glyphosate was your big thing. Food colors was your big thing. And instead, they just kind of went with it. And then we attack Venezuela, and they're all cool with that. Now we're in a war in the Middle East. Another war in the Middle East. And they're just like, well, President Trump finally had the guts to do it. What the fuck are y'all talking about? Like,
we bombed a school with 161 children. Female children.
All I'm asking is that if you have something that you're passionate about, stay passionate about it. And if your preferred candidate varies from that, call him out. Stand on business. Here I am talking like a kid. Stand on business and hold the line and say, hey, I'm not cool with this. And even if you say, you know what? I'm still going to vote for Trump next time or, whatever, but I don't like this thing he did, I'll have some respect for you. I was willing to vote for Biden when I could give you a list of things that I wasn't very cool with him doing, but sure. I reasoned it out and said, this is who I would rather vote for, even though he's not a perfect candidate and there's a lot of things he does I don't like. For some reason, a lot of MAGA doesn't have that in them. They feel like if I'm going to say I'm voting for Trump, I have to just say I agree with everything no matter what, and I don't get that. It makes no sense to me.
Makes no sense. And it's the same people who follow Jesus Christ.
That's the other thing. They're really attacking Tallarico's Christian faith right now, and they're saying that he's not a real Christian and this and that. And there's a Republican that he's a never Trump Republican. His name's David French. I think he writes for like the National Review or one of those, The Atlantic. He might write for. But he had a whole article the other day about James Tallarico is threatening to these Republicans, and it's because of the way he shows what Christianity is supposed to be and what it's really meant to be. And he kind of puts the spotlight on how MAGA Christianity isn't real Christianity. It's not following the teachings of Jesus Christ. And that's a threat to a lot of the grifters that are like the evangelical Christians. They realize that Tallarico could possibly expose them, and they will stop. Like, there's going to be more money nationally from the Republican side put into Texas than any other state because Tallarico is a threat. And it's a threat religiously. It's a threat just to hold the Senate. They can't do it without Texas. But be on the lookout. So,
Dude.
Yeah, that's all I got for tonight.
Let's go Tallarico.
Let's go Tallarico. And I'm challenging anybody MAGA watching this to pick a belief and stick with it. That's all I'm asking. Just one.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be all of them, just one. Start with one and see how it feels to be principled about something. And then maybe pick a second one if it feels good. That's all I'm asking.
I like it. Be principled, MAGA. Be principled.
You have
Peace,
a good
love,
night.
like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe?
Subscribe.
You sound like Lindsey Graham right now. All right. I'll talk to you later, man.
Later.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.